Have you ever heard the story of Bembe? There was a mother and child who stayed near the mountains of East Africa. The mother, Marjorie, grew up in those mountains as well as inside of the exact same hut her father built after the Maroon War. She and her son Bembe lived away from the rest of the village. Marjorie felt that her living this way would help keep her son safe due to his inability to speak. So she also came to homeschool Bembe instead of sending him off to the schoolhouse with the other children. Marjorie realized Bembe was different the day she birthed him. From the day Bembe was born, he never cried, but later learned to use certain grunts and gestures to communicate. Doctors in town told her that there was nothing they could do to help Bembe to speak. The only time Bembe would ever go outside of the hut is to water Marjorie's garden that she tended to every day. Bembe looked forward to watering the garden because he enjoyed the fresh air, sunlight, and the occasional glimpse of children playing near the river from a distance. The day had come where some of the children from the river caught a glimpse of what they assumed to be a young boy watching them from the mountains.
Hey, look up there. I don't see nothing.
So the first boy pointed.
There, you see? I do see him. I've never seen him before.
So a handful of the children decided to make a trek up the mountain to see if the boy up there wanted to swim in the river with them. While Marjorie and Bembe were finishing supper, they heard a knock at their door.
Stay put,
Marjorie says to Bembe as she got up to see who was at their door. She opened the door slightly.
What is it?
One brave child asks.
Can your boy come out to play with us?
Marjorie responded, no, he cannot, and attempted to close the door until one of the boys asked,
why doesn't he go to the schoolhouse like the rest of us?
Marjorie responds,
because he is needed here with me. Now move on.
And then she closes the door. As the children leave, Bembe went into the kitchen where his mother was cleaning up after supper, and he looks at her. He doesn't make a sound or give a gesture. He just looks at her. Marjorie notices Bembe and immediately says,
it's not safe for your boy. Not safe for a boy like you out there.
Bembe then stumps his foot and points toward the door. Marjorie then calmly approaches him and puts his hands right into hers.
Bembe, my Bembe, the world is a cruel place, and children can be just as cruel if they learn of your condition. You don't want no parts of them boys. Now go get cleaned up. It'll be time for bed soon.
For the next 2 weeks, the children made their way up the mountain to ask Marjorie if her son can come out and play, and each time the answer was no. So on a very cloudy and dark day, Marjorie was finishing up her work in the garden early due to the anticipation of rain. But this time Bembe wasn't waiting there with his pail of water.
Bembe!
Marjorie calls out,
Bembe!
But she didn't get a response. She leaves her garden to look for Bembe inside of the hut.
Bembe?
She calls out again, but like before, no response. Bembe had made a trip down the mountain to find the children that wanted to play. Filled with anticipation, he walked briskly down a trail that leads to the bottom of the mountain. He could hear the children in the distance, and that made him go for a faster pace. And from that fast pace, he moved into a light jog until he stumbles upon 3 boys playing in the river. The boys immediately notice Bembe.
Look who it is,
one of them say. Bembe responds with a subtle wave.
What is your name?
Another boy approaches Bembe. Bembe slowly drops to a knee and proceeds to use his finger to write his name in the dirt. B-E-M-B-E. The boys say, your name is Bembe? Bembe nods yes. I'm Thomas, that's Goji, and Luca. Do you not speak Bembe? Bembe shakes his head no. Luca starts playing in the water and says,
I bet we can teach you to speak,
with a mischievous look upon his face. Luca then asks,
can you swim, Bembe?
Bembe shakes his head no.
Sure you can. It's easy. Come in the water.
Goji looks cautiously as Bembe slowly enters the water. Thomas yells out, it's a little cold, but your body will adjust after a minute. Bembe gets waist deep in the river and begins to smile from the new experience. Luca says,
now swim. All you have to do is this.
As he flattens out and glides across the water, showing Bembe how to use his arms and legs. Luca then vanishes under the water. Bembe moves a little further into the river and attempts to glide the same as Luca. laughing and enjoying this new phase in life. Suddenly, a light rain shower begins. Meters away, Goji notices Bembe's arms wailing frantically in the water.
Look, think he's in trouble. He'll be fine,
says Luca.
If not, he has no choice but to speak.
Goji responds.
But he cannot speak.
Luca says.
If he wants my help, he'll have to ask for it.
Goji tries his best to swim where Bembe is frantically fighting the water. He is met by a small current, making it harder for him to reach Bembe. He yells to Thomas and Luca.
Can you still see him?
Meanwhile, Luca is laughing while Thomas responds.
No, I think he went back under.
Goji yells.
The current is too strong for me to go further.
Thomas stops swimming and begins to tread water, hoping that Bembe would resurface so they could rescue him. But after a few minutes, there was no sign of Bembe. Marjorie followed the trail down to the river. She can hear Bembe's name being called with a concern, and she begins to run toward the water. Once arriving, she noticed the spelling of Bembe writing in the dirt. Luca notices Marjorie.
It's Bembe's mom.
Luca takes off. Thomas and Goji exit the water saddened by what happened to Bembe. Marjorie yells, "Where's my child?" Both boys look at the river as she rushes into the water to find Bembe. She searches the water for hours in the rain, but never was he found. Marjorie returned home and eventually hit a deep depression, never tending to her garden again. After that day, any day that it rained, water would never hit the garden. It would rain everywhere around the garden, but the vegetation would never receive water. Marjorie felt that it was her ancestors telling her that Bembe was with them because they knew watering the garden was Bembe's job. Oh, Marjorie's depression led to her death 2 years later. Those who visit the mountains where Marjorie and Bembe live say that even though the garden is fully dead, sometimes it appears alive and ready to harvest, even though the garden has never been tended to again. Luca and Thomas began to see wet footprints wherever they'd go. Whenever they would try to show someone the footprints, nothing would be there. Luca's father tried every available resource before having him institutionalized as a last resort for his hallucinations. He stayed under professional care until his 18th birthday, where he was found unresponsive. Strangely, when he was found, his face was of purple color and lungs were filled with water, as if he had drowned, but he had not been near a body of water. Thomas's mother and father sent him off to a boarding school because they did not believe he was being truthful about his hallucinations. While at boarding school, he still saw these wet footprints on a regular basis. He would dream about the past events that happened with Bembe until he felt he could no longer live with what had occurred constantly being domiciled in his mind. 2 boys from the boarding school reported that they saw Thomas getting up after lights out, with one hand extended as if something was guiding him away. He was never seen again after that night. When staff and students searched the campus high and low, they found 2 pair of footprints going towards a local fishing boat. One set appeared to be from a small child, bare feet, and the other were a pair of school-issued shoes by the boarding school. To this day, Thomas's body was never found. Myth has it that on some rainy nights, you can see a small figure with a pail watering where Marjorie's garden used to be, but no one has ever been close enough to know for sure.